California lawmakers seek answers about the state's insurance crisis. Yo, guys, on the Insurance Commissioner Board, our constituents, they're a little bit concerned about what they're going to do when they don't have any insurance of any kind at all. What do you guys propose? That's what we're talking about today. Let's get into it. Here we go.
He was in the hot seat today. California's insurance commissioner was answering questions about how homeowners will be covered or dropped following those deadly wildfires down in LA County, and how high our rates might be rising.
This comes as Commissioner Ricardo Lara faces criticism about a recent trip to Bermuda to speak at an insurance convention. Let's bring in our business intelligence
Bermuda.
Scott Budman with the latest details. Scott.
Not as bad as Ghana.
Insurance on the minds of
but
many people these days. Commissioner Lara heard from all parts of the state and told them he's doing what he can so they can get paid. In the wake of the deadly LA fires, California Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara took questions from Southern California lawmakers.
A lot of places in my district where a lot of these big insurance companies are not writing policies.
Absolutely.
We saw in the Palisades, a lot of people non-renewed.
And tried to put people hoping to rebuild at ease.
The priority after a catastrophe is to make sure that every insurance company, including the FAIR Plan, have enough capital to pay out the claims.
The FAIR Plan, a safety net for paying out California insurance claims, was among the topics of the insurance hearing. Lara says about 37,000 claims have been filed since the LA fires. 27,000 have gotten partial payment as the FAIR Plan requests $1 billion to help cover the claims. Here in the Bay Area, many homeowners and would-be home buyers worry about whether they can get insured.
A lot of the constituents that I represent are constantly asking about the price of insurance, whether or not if they can get insurance, how much it's gone up.
Commissioner Lara addressed insurance prices, most notably in light of the Insurance Commission approving a 22% rate hike by State Farm.
Don't want is two things. I don't want to create precedent where other insurance companies could come in without giving me data saying they need an emergency rate and to take advantage of another catastrophe.
Commissioner Lara also told the lawmakers he attended that insurance summit in Bermuda because he says he wanted to have face-to-face conversations with the insurance companies themselves. Janelle?
And you have to go to Bermuda to do that. Okay. All right. Okay. Why are we spending so much time on California's insurance crisis? Because insurance companies are nationwide, and what happens in California, the magnitude of what happens in California is going to impact you wherever you sit, because there's only a handful of insurance companies out there. They all work in conjunction, right? The big ones, the small ones, reinsurance companies, big just the huge companies. Yeah, it's all they're all sharing the same risk. So whatever your policy is, it's going to go up. Let's be honest. It's going to go up. How much? We don't really know. California, 22%. And that's if insurance executives can convince the insurance commissioner that there's a reason that these premiums should be allowed to get hiked. Homeowners across California are reeling amid an ongoing insurance crisis. Not just California, it's all over. It's all over. Insurance is going up, and not just, car insurance, not just fire insurance, liability insurance, you name it, because everything has gone up in expense. So anything that needs to, be insured for whatever reason, when people go to make those claims, all that stuff is going up. So, and on Wednesday, the state's insurance commissioner appeared before a legislative seeking answers. The legislature is seeking answers because they've got the hot seat of people saying, I just got canceled by my policy. I have no insurance. I've got a mortgage. What am I supposed to do? The FAIR Plan is absurd. It's absurdly expensive, and it doesn't cover the full cost to rebuild my home. What am I supposed to do? Those are questions that are happening ongoing. And a lot of this has to do with just absolute mismanagement in California. This is the layer of bureaucracy and the type of leadership that you've got in place We'll read about it. Commissioner Ricardo Lara, who is facing criticism for skipping out on a hearing last week, appeared at the state capitol to answer questions about what lawmakers have called an insurance industry in shambles. Well, it's not just the insurance company. This isn't fully insurance companies' fault because they've been pulling out in droves. They have said, hey, the risk is not commensurate with the premiums that we can charge. And the way that California specifically is structured to protect the consumer is such that these insurance companies aren't making enough money, in their opinion, to warrant the risk. And so they're pulling out left and right. Insurance companies have been dropping claims and coverage over the past several months for the past couple of decades, right? Impacting thousands of families. The FAIR Plan, a last resort insurance coverage for Californians, has said it was at risk of running out of money from claims following the LA County wildfires earlier this year. FAIR has asked for $1 billion lifeline to keep their solvency, and member insurance companies could pass along up to half of the costs to their customers. So you've got a bunch of running factors there with the way that they spread out risk. And the FAIR Plan, it's insolvent. It is insolvent right now. It's going to need massive infusions. So this is major testimony here. 37,000 claims, 27,000 claims have received partial payment. Insurance Commissioner's Office ordered more than $12 billion in relief to date. I mean, the estimated cost of this is hundreds of billions, right? I mean, it just is. His office has provided insurance support workshops during and after the wildfires. Hey, you want to go to an insurance workshop? God, that sounds like fun, doesn't it? I mean, you don't want to belittle these kinds of things, but you got a massive problem on your hands. Insurance workshop? Okay. All right. There are investigations of smoke damage claims as well as ensuring fair payments. He has ordered additional living expenses coverage as well as first ever public consumer claims. He's addressed the risk of the FAIR Plan running out of money and its request for $1 billion. After his update, Lara took questions from the committee. It wasn't immediately clear if he had to answer to skipping out on an insurance committee hearing last week for a trip to Bermuda, where he could only apparently have communication with the leaders of the insurance industry in Bermuda. How does that work? Why is somebody always off in some far-reaching, far-flung location? Not saying Bermuda's all that far. But you know what I'm saying? Oh, what are you doing? His office confirmed Monday that it was a 2.5-day work trip to headline an industry conference. In a statement, Lara's office said in part, Commissioner Lara's job is to ensure that California consumers have real choices, not just last resorts. When it comes to insurance, this involves going over the heads of insurance companies and engaging directly with the global reinsurance groups that support them. Okay, whatever. Before Wednesday's hearing, Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas removed Assemblyman David Tangipa, Republican from Fresno, from the Insurance Committee after Tangipa became outspoken about the issue. That guy is saying too much. It's not going in our favor. Get that Republican out of here. That sound about right? That guy's just, he's raising a ruckus. What's that guy saying? That guy's just, you guys are poor leaders. This is why we're in the problem in the first place. I really believe we need a larger sense of urgency for the issues we see today in the insurance market. Sounds about like par for the course for a Republican, right? Breathing some reality into the scene. Tangipa goes on to say it's dire. If we look at the California FAIR Plan, we're barely going to have $350 million to cover $450 billion in assets that are covered under the California FAIR Plan. $350 million? $450 billion. Those are the numbers you're working with. You don't have to be a mathematician or a statistician to understand that those ratios are nowhere even remotely close. And if you're in insurance, that's not a good thing. So is the state of California just going to punch a bunch of money into this system? Yeah, probably. But more importantly, insurance rates are just going to skyrocket. They're just going to skyrocket. That's what happens here. That's less than 1%. We need leaders in the state, especially the insurance commissioner being here, going to every single meeting, because every single Californian is about to feel this. Every single Californian and every American is going to feel this, because we've had so many big insurance claims, so many natural catastrophes, that the insurance companies, they've got levels of solvency that they need to keep. And if they're paying out all this money, continuously paying out, they got to replenish those coffers. What are we going to do? Well, I don't think Daddy Trump's going to come in with the big rescue plan, is he? No, he's talking about putting together some kind of oversight. Hey, all that money that's in California for all the insurance stuff, we need to have somebody who actually knows what they're doing. Because when you've got lunatics running around and they're trying to pull out Republicans that are actually the voice of reason, that's how you end up in these situations with people who don't really have a notion of how do we actually fix this? How do we apply a reasonable, logical solution to a massive, massive problem? And you know what? This goes way, way further than just what we're seeing on the surface here. This in California, this is years and years and decades of policy that has been created to protect the consumer. And so much of it is just misguided, just absolute lunacy that makes no sense. But in the California state of mind, this is going to be great. This is the best thing ever. You know, it's like putting in place a whole bunch of rent controls, and then you realize, where'd all the developers go for all the new housing? I don't get it. Where did those guys go? Oh, they went to other states that don't have rent control? Weird. Anyway, let's go ahead and double down on restrictions of what landlords can do, and that'll really, ratchet things down and really help out the independent tenant. Policy like that you just look at and you go, that's why everybody's moving to Texas. That's why everybody's moving to Florida. Because with ridiculousness like this is the end result. And that's a lot of what I cover here on News for Reasonable People, is terrible public policy that rears its ugly head in these situations. And you've got all these Democrats that go, what do? We need our insurance commissioner here. It's your whole system that's messed up. It's not well run. It's not well regulated. It's not well funded. The whole thing is just, a ticking time bomb. And we are literally watching in slow motion the California insurance industry crisis, because you've got insurance companies left and right saying, nope, we're out. Risk, not commensurate with return. Doesn't matter how much we ask for in premiums covered. Doesn't make sense for us. We're out. Boom. We're gone. And then the insurance industry, like, what do we do? So now you've got legislators who are on the hot seat, and they're kicking back saying, okay, what's the game plan here? What's the dealio? What are we going to do? So they bring their insurance commissioner, and he says a bunch of stuff and has to answer to why he was in Bermuda. Bermuda. All right, I want to go to Bermuda. You betcha. Yeah, we need to talk about real estate. Nah, it's not really my thing. All right. It for me on this one. This saga continues. This isn't going anywhere. This is only gonna get worse, unfortunately, for those of you in California. But that's why you're tuning in, because we need coverage on this. You need to know what you're up against. And in my opinion, this is gonna get hot before it gets cool. Thanks again for being here. Catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.